Hi everyone, welcome to workshop 6. Today is 6th of May 2023. My name is Prosper Tony. I'm part of the Postwright Foundation team. We are on the Empower to Lead G.I.R.L project. G.I.R.L is Gender Inclusion Resilient Leadership Workshop, a project that was born out of the Community Engagement Action Program funded by the US government. And we have a special guest who will be facilitating today's workshop. She has something to share with us on networking 101, how to get involved. And as young women, this tip is also very equally important to us. Without further ado, I'll welcome our facilitator. But before I do, let me read briefly about her. Our facilitator is in the person of Patricia Dzifa Mensah-Larkai. She's the founder of Perissos Horizon, a brand that is passionate about developing communication and leadership skills through coaching, mentoring, and then training. The director administrator for the Ghana Boundary Commission by profession and a communication and leadership coach by passion. She's passionate about self-development and holds caring membership with the following professional bodies: IPR Ghana, CIHRM Ghana, PMI Ghana Global, and the PMI Ghana chapter. She's a two-time self-published author, a two-time distinguished Toastmaster, two-time Area 3 Director, D94 Pathways Guide Ambassador, and a District 94 Area Director of the Year Awardee. She's a student at the MountCrest University College, where she serves as the SRC Women's Commissioner and the Deputy General Secretary of the Founders Youth Club. My dear audience, participants, let's welcome our facilitator with a round of applause, Madam Patricia Dzifa Mensah-Larkai. You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Prosper, for that warm introduction. I feel comfortable already because I can attest to the fact that I am amongst like-minded people. It is a pleasure and an honor to be able to share with you a few insights when it comes to networking skills and how that can empower and further help us showcase what we as women and obviously men who support women are doing in our various spaces. I am going to share my slide and then we will hop onto the presentation proper. All right. Okay, so you have all heard, as you listen to Prosper doing the introduction, you've basically gathered a few things about it. It is time for me to also get to learn a few things about you. Before we get right into the introduction, today we're going to talk about networking skills 101. And this is going to be a very interactive session, so I do hope you are close by your phones or your devices so that you can join me as we engage. I would love to see in the chat box who is in the room here with us this afternoon. I know I have 40 minutes to engage, and then we'll go into some Q&A session. Am I correct? All right, wonderful. So let me go into the chat room. I just want to have a sneak peek into who else is in the room. Just share with us. We can see your name. So just share with us where you're joining us from and what your expectations are from this particular session. Let's use the first 2 minutes to do that. Okay, so I'm hoping to see your comments. I know we currently have 12 people connected. What are your expectations for this particular session? Hilda, Giovanna, ICPT, Cyril. Let's all hop into our chat boxes and then let us know we are ABBA students. Wonderful. Yeah. And you can type in there what some of their expectations are after joining the session, what they want to takeaway after the session? All right, so whilst we wait for the comments to drop, and I'll go back to that and read later, I just wanted to bring to your notice that whenever we talk about networking, or whenever we talk about getting into the space or the atmosphere where the intent and purpose of the organizers, which could even be you organizing such an event or such a program, networking has different meanings for everyone. And so we're going to undertake a particular activity. And since you're not, let's see, we have Abbas who are joining us as a group. Let me quickly go into my chat, okay? And I will share a link with you. There we go. Okay, let's go back into presentation mode. And then I'm going to share this link with you all. All right, so please go into your chat box. And it is asking us to put in comments regarding what. Okay, so Giovanna says, I'm joining from Cape Coast. I'm expecting to learn something different about networking and how to make the most of networking opportunities. Also, how to network better. Wonderful. And I think I have a comment also from Precious, joining us from Kumasi. Yes, she wants to understand networking better by the end of the session. That's great. Okay, so now let me put in this link. I would want all of us to click the link and put in there what we think of networking. When you hear the word networking, what comes to your mind? If you click on the link, you would have a similar text box showing just as you see on my screen. Okay, input your words, and then at a later opportunity, we would go back into our chats and see what networking means to each and every one of us. Okay, so we're waiting for you. Prosper, I think you can time me. Let's give about 5 minutes, 3 minutes for this activity. Thank you, Aram. She says, welcome, director. I'm joining you from Pong Baule Shudodowa. My expectation is the best way I can keep and maintain my network in the business arena. Wonderful. So I do hope you're all engaging. Please unmute yourself and let me know if you've been able to access the link from your chat box. If you have, you can just unmute and say, I have, and then we'll wait for you to put in your entries.
I have.
Wonderful. Marcelina says, I'm joining you from Cape Coast. I'm expecting to learn everything about networking and also make friends. Nice to meet you, Marcelina. I'm also hoping to make new friends, so we're friends already. So you've got one friend in your box. How are we doing with the entries? Let me repost the link. Just click on the link, put in a word, 2 words, 3 words, what networking means to you. Okay, now we will go over to the results that have come in so far and see how we're doing when it comes to networking. Okay, so this is where we go to see what you all think of networking. And before we started, I had put in a few things myself, but I wouldn't tell you which ones. So we have words such as connecting, meeting new people, collaborating, sharing value. I see another connection, growing, business. Do we have more coming in? Let's see what is in the chat box. Wonderful. Getting to know people. I love what is coming in. Interpersonal relations. That is wonderful. Uniting. That is lovely. Uniting. I love that. So you realize that As we think about what networking means to all of us, we see adding value to people, getting opportunities, why not? Interpersonal relations. You realize that we all have unique ideas and unique thoughts and impressions when it comes to networking. This is able to let us understand the fact that we all go into the networking arena based on different expectations. We all go into the networking arena based on different expectations. So let's move back to the presentation, and then we would see how we can meet all of our expectations today. Okay, so let's keep the words coming in. Feel free to populate it. We can take a look at it again at the end of the session. I love this quote by Michelle Jenai. It says, networking is not about just connecting people. It's about connecting people with people. Okay, I believe that resonates with somebody. It is also connecting people with ideas. All right, and then it is also about connecting people with opportunities. So let's all unmute our mics and give ourselves a wonderful round of applause. Because just looking at the word cloud and seeing what networking means to all of us, we have already started off on a good footing. It means that we know what networking is, but it is now time for us to position ourselves so that we can ace this networking arena. All right, now let's keep that quote under our belt. Cyril, would you want to say something? I think you're unmuted. Is there a comment coming from your class? Okay, if not, you can go back on mute and then we'll come back to you. First of all, I want us to understand that when it comes to networking, there are a few do's and don'ts, and I want us to tackle them at the very basic. We have all shared our thoughts regarding what networking means to us. It is about connecting with people. It is about growing our businesses. You have heard the proverbial quote that your network is your net worth, meaning that whatever you would possess or have, it might not be in physical currency, but it might be from your net worth and your portfolio in terms of the people that you are connected with. You realize that you have a certain space within which networking occurs. All of the things we have spoken about or shared in the chat room and on the word cloud tells us that networking is for a specific purpose. Now, most of the time, we always feel that networking occurs at networking events. Let me throw in a surprise. Whether we are conscious of it or not, networking occurs at different places at almost every time. As we move within our various social circles, as we move within our contact bases, and here it could be at family events, even in your home, in your school, at your workplace. You heard about the various organizations or professional bodies that I belong to. Whether you are on a WhatsApp group or you are on a certain platform with other people, you are networking knowingly or unknowingly. But I want us to look at it from the angle where you are physically in a space where there is either a family gathering, it could be a party, it could be a family meeting, it could be even on those sad occasions at funerals, okay? You could also be in the office, welcoming guests into your organization. And those are all occasions where you can be networking either intentionally or unintentionally. Now, who can tell us some of the things that you will find at such physical networking sessions? Can we see in the chat box? I've given a lot of clues by what we are going to talk about, but I'll still go ahead and just give you the opportunity to tell us in the chat box, what are some of the things that you would observe at networking sessions or networking events? Let's see who would type first. What do you usually see at networking events? You can also unmute your mic and tell us, what are some of the things that you see at first hand when you enter a networking event or a networking room or a program? Anyone? Or should I mention names? Okay, I think we have somebody. Hi.
Do not rush with your
Okay, so that is what we're going to tackle in my next discussion. But for now, when you go to a networking event, what are some of the things you see or expect to see? Who has heard of the proverbial item 13? Who knows what item 13 is? Who can tell us? Yes.
Madam,
so,
please.
hi.
Item 13 is about food. After every program, the refreshment is called item 13.
Wonderful. I like what Aram said. Now let's give her a round of applause. After every program, there is usually what we call item 13. That is a refreshment, isn't it? You meet people with great personalities. Yes, Sarah. When you get into those meeting rooms, you meet people with great personalities. And what we don't want to do is rush for the item 13. Most networking events that are organized and properly set up to actually create an atmosphere for people that want to network to do so would actually try to give them what we call finger foods. They can also try to give them welcome drinks. They would also have waiters and waitresses that will be weaving through the crowd intermittently, trying to offer you some snacks. Usually, such planned networking events would be in the cocktail style. So cocktail events means that you would find yourself standing on your feet for most part of the session. So usually you wouldn't find the seats with tables around, although there are occasions where networking events can be having such table arrangements. Now, what you don't want to do is walk directly into a networking event and start rushing the waiters and waitresses for food. Okay, so that is the first don't. And I like what Hilda says. It is also to exchange ideas and try to showcase their work. You find people also having exhibitions. The whole idea of networking is, as we said, either to grow your business. And so sometimes creators of such networking events would offer platforms for exhibitions. They would offer platforms for sponsors of the programs to have items that they trade in to be showcased, okay? And so when you walk into such a networking event, what you want to do is at least appreciate what the organizers have put in place for you. That is, first of all, try to walk around the exhibition stands, interact with people. As Hilda said, you would want to exchange business cards, and we will come to that in a bit. At these sites, before you even get into that environment, there are some things that you must have. And when we get to some of the critical objectives of my presentation today, we will learn about it. But the few don'ts that I want us to have in mind is that, number one, do not rush for the food and drinks. It is a no-no, because you never know who is watching you. Perhaps the person that you are dying to meet the most was able to come in very early and is standing in one corner of the room and observing who they should contact with or strike an acquaintance with. And if you walk in and immediately start rushing for every tray, grabbing every toothpick that you see around, then it means the person could be put off. They will think that you didn't actually come there to engage, to meet with people, to connect with people, or even reconnect with people. But then you came in just for the item 13. Now we're saying that at networking events, what you also don't want to be found doing is to interrupt conversations. And here we're talking about interrupting conversations in a not so polite manner. We all know that at networking events, there could be numerous people looking for the attention of others who are like-minded. And everyone wants to have a goal at sharing what it is they want their contact to have of them, or the impression that they want to leave with their contacts. So obviously, you want to make sure you meet people. But make sure that as you approach people who are already in a conversation, you are approaching them in a way where your posture and your demeanor shows that you are interested in striking an acquaintance with somebody, if not all of them. And this is where you find groups of 3 or 4 or 5 in a very tight conversation. You don't want to just barge into the conversation and have all the eyes turning around, looking at you thinking, now, what does he or she want here? One thing you must note is that at networking events, some people may be meeting for the very first time, but there are others who are meeting others for the second, third, or even 10th time. They may be known buddies, or they may be known work colleagues, or they may be known business partners. And so such events, when the opportunity arises, gives them the opportunity to either continue discussions on something they're already working on, or to try to tighten some loose ends regarding a project that they're already working on. And so those are not the circles that you would want to break. But if your posture is such that you want to also strike an acquaintance with 1 or 2 of those who are gathered, and you do so in a not so aggressive way, then most likely, if they want to have a third party or a 4th person join them, they would make room for you. And that is your cue to go in and then strike that acquaintance. We will come to how you can do that and do it effectively. Another thing that we want to bear in mind is that at networking events, you don't want to overstay your welcome. After you get into an event space, remember how difficult it is for you to sometimes break into conversations and also make yourself known to others. So when you are given the opportunity to engage with somebody, the last thing you want to do is to turn into the leech that wouldn't want to go anywhere else. You don't want to be the one that is tagging along a particular person, not giving them breathing space. Okay? Let's remember the adage that 2 is good company, sometimes 3 is a crowd. So when you realize that you have already had that initial conversation with a particular person or group of people, you have shared your value and relevance with them, and you are sure that your contacts have been exchanged, it is time for you to weave through the room and find another connection to converse with. All right? Now, whilst you are doing so and walking around the room, you want to also watch out for opportunities to rescue others. Okay? So remember, we just said that don't overstay your welcome. Some people probably are not in this meeting, or they haven't had an opportunity to attend Networking Skills 101. So they don't know that it is unfashionable for you to stick to somebody for too long, that it makes them uncomfortable. Now, you would want to watch out for such occasions and then find a nice way to give the person some relief. And I tell you, they will thank you for it, and that will be your stepping stone to striking your own acquaintance with the person. Okay? Now let's move to the do's. Networking skills that we must have. We want to make sure that when you're networking, you are making effective eye contact. Even virtually, you can make that effective eye contact by looking right through your lens like that. And trust me, you will be making good eye contact with almost everyone right in their own comforts where they're joining the virtual meeting. You also want to make sure that you are listening with intent. We're going to come to a practice session where we will find out just how effectively you have been listening to me so far. Okay? And this is what you must have at your fingertips when attending networking sessions or making good use of networking opportunities when they come. You want to listen with intent, and as you're listening, you're asking yourself, on what levels can I strike an acquaintance or connection with this person? What do we have in common? What are some of the problems or challenges that this person is expressing in their conversation for which I have a solution and I can pitch in and let them know I can solve this problem? Or tell them about an occasion where you have solved a similar problem, or you have had somebody who you are in close touch with solving that same problem, and how you can be that stepping stone or that bridge for that person to link up with another person. And that is one thing a lot of us don't do so well. Most people feel that anybody that they get in touch with, they must connect directly. But sometimes at networking events, your intention is better and effectively harnessed if you are also looking for ways in which you can connect people with other people you know who need the value they bring to the table. Now we're saying that do ask questions only if they're relevant. Sometimes people go into networking events and begin to ask all sorts of questions that may not be so relevant. It is good when you meet an old acquaintance and you ask about their family, ask about how their kids are doing. That is if you already know them. But it will be unprofessional for you to get into that networking environment and then start asking somebody, oh, how is your wife? Or how is your husband? Or how are your children? You never know. Perhaps the moment the words came out of your mouth, you might have struck a very sore chord in the person's life. What if that person hasn't got kids? Something they're looking for. And just by asking them that, it sends them into a very, very emotional place in their life. So if you are asking questions, make sure they're relevant. They're tied into the value that you're bringing to the table, the solutions that you have for the problem, and why you want to leave that lasting impression in the minds of the people so that they would want to reconnect after the event. And obviously, there is nothing that is so sad than to get into a networking environment strike that great connection with people, only to get home and remember that, oh, I didn't take their phone number, or I didn't give them my phone number. It is good to have a business card or a complimentary card if you have one, and exchange the connections. But sometimes the quickest way is just to exchange numbers. And in current times, if the person is on WhatsApp, quickly share your contacts, let them know, this is this person, we met at so-and-so event. It was nice making your acquaintance. And who knows, if the person is photogenic and loves photos like I do, they will probably not mind a selfie that you share with them, just to again help them recall where they made that connection. So I hope that you have taken some bits and pieces from our do's and don'ts. Let me see in the chat room if we're making good progress. I want to see your emojis, your comments in the chat rooms if we're making good progress. Wonderful. I love the hearts. Yes, thumbs up, great. So now, looking back at what your expectations were and coming thus far to help us all get on that same platform where we have some more ideas about what networking is for, the do's and the don'ts. My objective after this session is that you would also go back home knowing how you can overcome what we call glossophobia. Glossophobia is the big term for the fear of public speaking. Some people are not able to effectively connect at such networking events or take advantage of such networking opportunities simply because of their fear of public speaking. And that is what is termed glossophobia. It is actually something that can be medically diagnosed, and it goes through some therapeutic treatments. But you can always get this fear with some of the tips and techniques I will be sharing with you by the end of the session. We're also going to go through what we call the elevator pitch. The elevator pitch basically is telling you that if you had an opportunity to get into an elevator with someone that you've been dying to meet, okay? Now, let's say you've been dying to meet the actor Majid, or you've been dying to meet the president of Ghana, though it is highly unlikely that his security team would allow you enter the same lift with him, okay? So let's bring it back into the reality context. Many of us from primary school will be asked, what would you tell Mr. President if you see him or you get an opportunity to meet him? Now, let's say you have an opportunity to meet your headmistress or your headmaster or the dean of your university faculty, or you have an opportunity to meet your CEO, and you've been dying to share this brilliant idea that you've passed on and on through your superiors, but it is not reaching home. The elevator pitch gives you an opportunity to share that idea quickly while somebody is moving from one floor to the next. So who can tell me in the chat room how many minutes they think one would have an opportunity to deliver their elevator pitch? Let's hit our chat box. Let me see what you have. Okay, great. Let's see. 3 minutes. All right. Who has a different idea? 3 minutes. Okay. Let's see. 5 minutes. 1 minute. Who else has another? How many minutes do you think it will take you to deliver your elevator pitch before the person you have been dying to meet gets off at the next floor? Okay, so I like the feedback that has come in so far. 1 minute, 3 minutes max. Yeah. 30 seconds. Great. All right. So now we'll go back into what we want you to learn and achieve at the end of the session. So in being an effective networker, it means that you must overcome your fear of public speaking. You must have an elevator pitch in your pocket at all the time, not physically grabbing it out of your pocket, but in your mind's eye. You should already craft your elevator pitch. And then we're going to learn how to develop active listening skills, which you are already exhibiting so excellently by your engagement in the chat. It means you're really following. Okay, Masadina also says 3 minutes. Wonderful. So let's go and then find out what the experts are saying. First of all, we want to see how to overcome glossophobia. Now, we got an opportunity to break into our breakout rooms, but then Prosper, I would want us to come back to this activity after we've gone through our elevator pitch practice proper. Is that okay?
Sure, that's okay.
All right. And how am I doing with time?
You're doing well, so we can run on when you're running.
Okay, wonderful. So before we craft our elevator pitch, I want us to have these tidbits at the back of our minds. First of all, you must know your audience. Remember what I just said. It is highly unlikely that you would even be allowed through the security to get into a lift with the president. All right? But there could be other opportunities where you might be engaging the president. Perhaps the president visits your school, or the president visits your organization. As you're shaking hands, who knows, your elevator pitch can fly through that few seconds. You must know your purpose for engagement. What is the reason behind which you want to connect with somebody or a particular person or numerous people? Remember, networking is not about the person in the room who is able to dish out their business cards within the first couple of minutes. It is not the person that has shared their cards to almost everybody in the room. It is not about the person who has, through the swooperoo, spoken to almost every person in that networking event session. If only they don't run out of breath and collapse before the events, I would wonder myself. So first of all, know your purpose of engagement. Why do you want to meet the person? Is it to share a business idea? Is it to collaborate with them? So first of all, know your audience. Now, how many of us saw the flyer before this meeting? Whether on social media or by email, let's see in the chat how you got to know about this event. Let's see in the chat, how did you get to know about this event? And what was your purpose for attending? Okay, so this is the same mindset that I would encourage everyone to go into. Yes, social media. Okay, that link shared with you. So for those who joined social media or saw it on social media, would want to know the specific social media platform through which you got the notice. And before you attend any event, even if it's your organization, sometimes your human resource officials or the administrators will send communiques, or your PR session will send communiques about the upcoming events. And they would most often let you know who is going to be attending the event, either as a special guest, as a guest speaker, or the target market who are from part of the audience. And so the moment you see this information, it's important that you quickly begin to research on the people that will be in attendance and actually finding out if other connections you have made in the past would even be attending this particular session in the first place. Now, one of my secrets which will no longer be a secret because now I'm sharing it with you all, so you're all lucky. One of my secrets is that when I see an event, whether online or offline or through somebody who tells me about the event, I already go into my contact databases. I look through my networks and my connections. I watch and observe their social media platforms to know if they are intending to attend this particular event. And then before I get into that event session, I already know who it is that I'm going to be looking around for, based on what it is that I want them to either find value from me or give value to them. We all develop ourselves. We all grow from one level to the other. And so periodically, there will be some improvements. There will be some new things that you have in your kitty that you need to share with your old connections. And such events are moments where you can go back and let them know that, hey, it is good to see you at this event. Remember, I spoke to you about ABC, that I was taking this course or this program. Well, I've completed and now doing ABC or EZY. So I hope we're getting the flow. Sometimes you would want to let old connections know where you're at in the current space of time. For some of us, it could be that we're looking for a career change. We're looking for a new job opportunity. Yeah. We have probably gotten into some service delivery business and we want them to learn about it. So it is always important that you know your purpose for engagement before the networking event. Prepare your materials, gather your facts, data, and your content must be credible. I'm not saying that go into the networking event and go and lie that you have achieved a certain qualification or competency that you do not have. Because then when you're put on the spot, you'll be found wanting. It is important that you think of networking events, again, as opportunities where you can be the link or the bridge between even those in your own network, connecting them with new people at such occasions. So you could have a friend who is in a particular business, and this networking event has brought you into the space of someone that is looking to do business with this other person. Maybe you are an author, so you have your books on display to exhibit, but this person needs somebody who would probably supply them with disinfectants or supply them with household items that they need. It could be that they're looking for somebody to consult for them. There is no problem with you saying that I know someone that can be of support to you or that can be of benefit to you. And make sure that these are tried, tested, and trusted people that you refer or recommend to others, so that when you put them together and in touch with each other, you do not lose your own credibility for connecting this new connection with probably a fake person. I hope we're all okay with that. Now, we're saying that before you get into the networking events, practice, practice, practice. What are you going to practice? You're going to practice on the delivery of your elevator pitch, how you want to introduce yourself. You may be somebody who is into multiple disciplinary areas. You are a multi-talented person. You are a multifaceted person. You are a lady or a gentleman of many parts and capabilities. Probably you are in the business of supplying items, and you are also in the business of delivering items. You need to have an elevator pitch for each of the core things that you give, what we call your value proposition. It must be unique such that anyone you meet who needs that particular product or service, you have that elevator pitch to let them know what it is that you are able to do for them, how you are able to get that done, and what end result they would see if they decide to go along with your product or service. So for those who are looking to have growth in business connections or growth in the people that you want to share ideas with, you need to have this very facts at your fingertips and practice on how you will deliver that value proposition in that networking room. We're saying that at different occasions, you will have feedback, either as a producer or a service delivery person or agent. You have customers already, if you're in the business arena, that are giving you advice, giving you recommendations, suggestions to improve your service or product. How well are you using that to redefine the value that you give to others? So these are opportunities where you can even share how you were able to turn an irate or angry customer into a loyal customer who is now a die-hard fan and is giving you referrals. These are occasions you want to share such testimonials and such stories. And again, we go back to practice, practice, practice. So let me go back into the chat room and see where you got this from. Yes, it was shared on the Empowered to Lead Fellowship WhatsApp group. Wonderful. Please, through Postwrite Foundation. Yes, social media, wonderful. So these are all platforms through which we can get opportunities to network. We have spoken about this particular aspect when we spoke on the do's and don'ts of networking. I want to remind you that you want to be prepared to connect with new people and also reconnect with old acquaintances. Acquaintances could be those that you have met somewhere before. You may be in touch, but you haven't even had the opportunity to share your values with each other, to experience either your businesses, your products, your services. And so this helps you to deepen that connection. You want to remember to be courteous, be respectful of others, make room, give room for others to also come into the spaces and network with those people. Lasting impressions. You want to be memorable. You want to be memorable not because you broke some glasses, because you took too much champagne, too much drink, you took too much of the food, etc. But you want to be memorable for the good things. And then you want to keep the connections that are worth keeping and also be that connection that is worth keeping to others. So Prosper, I think this is time for us to get the breakout rooms ready so that we can practice on our elevator pitch and come back into the room to continue with the next session. I hope that sounds good to everyone. If it sounds good, let's see your emojis.
Okay, great. So I think we can do that in the next 5 minutes. Let me put out the room and see. I can assign. Can you see the rooms?
All right. Yes, I see the rooms now. So we want to give opportunity to all of us. We're not so many. I see currently 11 online. So excluding me, there'll be 10 of you that would want to join a particular room. If you're looking for career opportunities, you have career opportunities there. You're looking for social capital, you have social capital there. That is, you want to increase your network so that your network becomes heavy. You're looking for personal development, there is a room for you. You're looking for business opportunities, there's a room for you. So I'll leave that to Prosper so that you go into your various rooms. And I want you to imagine that your room is your networking event site.
So can you hear me? So we can do 5. All right.
I don't see them entering the room, so we'll be able to help them join.
Yeah. So yeah, we are assigning them.
Okay.
I think one of them should probably be in some of the rooms. This is the social capital group. Sarah,
I wanted to join the personal development group.
okay.
So
The page you could click on your screen, you see join group and you see personal development. So let me see if I could put you on the personal development. Precious, which group do you want to join?
Please, actually, when she was talking of that part, I wasn't here, so I did not hear about that.
Oh, okay, so then I can put you in the career opportunity groups.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. And please, once you join, make sure you
All right.
Yeah, hi. Yeah, I'm doing well. Lucy, you want to be, I think I put you in you're in the personal development group. Can you check?
Yes, this is where.
Oh, okay, great. So now the two of you, so personal development, she's gonna come and then share some things with you. What kind of change do you like? What do you anticipate to get for your personal development?
but I'm still in the social capital group.
Okay, you're in the social capital group, right?
Yes.
Okay. Don't worry, just be here. We'll get a few more people. Okay, so Patricia is in the other group. This is the social capital group.
I am here right now. Good to join you. How is it going so far?
Yeah, so they want to hear from you as well. So we are interacting.
Okay, so I've been to the career opportunities and also into the main meeting room where we have the ABBA school. And so here I am with social capital. How have you been able to introduce yourself to each other by way of sharing some value or a solution to a problem, and how that is done to be able to let the people feel the need to connect with you? And one person share that, and then I'll go into the other rooms and we'll have a practice session when we all join the main room. For now, I want to listen to how you all put that into practice from our first session.
Okay, so we just joined the group, so we are yet to discuss and talk to each other.
All right, so let's discuss together. Okay, you want us to be in the personal development group. That's fine. From here, you can probably sneak into that room and see what's happening there. But for now, can you share with us what you would have prepared for your elevator pitch?
Okay, so I'm Sarah, a student teacher of Akachi College of Education. I'm wanting to hone my skills in networking. Over the years, whenever I go for an event, I find it difficult to interact with people. And even if I interact with them, I take their contacts, try to connect with them. I find it very difficult because it seems they are not interested. So it's kind of difficult.
All right, so we'll come to that. So Sarah, it's good that you're in the social capital group. We'll talk about it more. I say Phoebe. Phoebe, would you want to share with us how you would introduce yourself to someone? Assuming that someone is me, how would you introduce yourself to me if you meet me out there somewhere?
So I'm Phoebe. I
We have a little bit of echo, so you can also
HR in
feel free to
school.
chat. Okay.
But I'm currently doing my service at home. So usually when I go for events, okay.
Yeah, it's getting better. You can go ahead. I have a
Okay,
minute.
can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So I usually find it easy to like communicate with, network with people in person, but then my difficulty is afterwards, how to maintain it afterwards by phone communication and like WhatsApp. Yeah, that's where I find the issue. Yes.
So how would you introduce yourself to me? How have you usually been doing it?
Okay, so usually I'll just, okay, so first I say hello, if it's afternoon, good afternoon. My name is Phoebe. Then I give them a background of where I schooled and what my interests are.
And what are
And
your interests, Phoebe? What are your interests?
probably if it's after an event, I tell them what's doing the event and I ask them what their take is on the event as well. My interests are in human rights,
Human.
I always like to study things that concern people and how like they are aligned with me.
Okay, so your interest is in human development or human capital
Please.
development?
Yes, please.
All right, okay, wonderful. I'll leave you to continue engaging with Sarah and Prosper, our super host, and I'll meet you in the main room. So we address those questions. See you soon.
See you soon.
Okay.
Okay. So, hello, Phoebe.
Hi,
Hello.
Sarah. Can you hear me?
Your network is a little bit bad, but we can manage.
Okay. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, it's fine. So, my name is Sarah, and I'm a student teacher of Akachi College of Education. Hello.
Okay. And go ahead. I'm listening.
Okay. It's like I can't hear you anything. So I'm a student teacher of Akachi College of Education. My interest is in developing the young one, girl-child education, and yeah. So I think that's all I can say for now. Hello.
Hello. That's nice. Is it clearer now?
Yes, a bit.
Okay. Okay, so my name is Phoebe. Basically, I'm into HR. Currently, I'm in like working in the NGO sector.
Wow.
I also I'm a pioneer of like pushing girls' rights, like female rights, women empowerment.
Wow.
I support girl child education. Like I'm so passionate about women empowerment. Like those are the things like I push for. Like
Okay,
gender rights, basically. Yes.
I think we share some interest in common.
Yes.
Yes, so I'm also under mentorship program in HR. That's HR Certification Center. Yeah.
Wow, that's great.
I'm in cohort for the current cohort.
Oh, okay. I saw that, but I missed the registration for that particular cohort. So I would actually join
In
the
the
next
next.
cohort. Yes.
And I
I'm
think I'll
actually
depend on you more for guidance since you're already in the field.
yeah, sure, we'll share. We'll share experience because right now you are in like having a mentorship program in HR, so you can help each other,
Yes,
share ideas with each other. So
that's right. And right now we are currently starting a project on that is girl child education, and the main topic is sexual health reproduction, and it's starting in June, somewhere June. So that it will be in Volta region here, Akachi, and the main place is ARS. So based on our research, the number of students, the number of girls in the environment or in the community, most of them are dropouts. And some of the cases, teenage pregnancy and others. So it's one network, my group actually, of which I'm the head communication member. And we are going to discuss about this with the learners or the students. See, we are thinking students are the best source of information and they spread information quickly. So we try to depend on them to carry out this information to the community. So I think by June, we start and see where we can go from there.
it's a nice initiative. I'm really It's a very good initiative. With me currently, what I am doing, what I'm involved in is actually a project on um NC, non-communicable diseases. So we've targeted, like selected a school where we are training the kids, young kids to live a healthy life. So they grew up with it. So we monitor them, keep like interacting with them till like it becomes their lifestyle. That's exercising, eating well, following like certain meal plans, and trying to get them meal plans that are like cost effective as well. So
Okay,
that's
I
currently
think
what I am.
Okay, how was the experience? Whilst we wait for the others to join, who would like to share their experience in the chat box or unmute and tell us quickly? We have just about 5 minutes to wrap up. How was the experience? Because for me, the experience is so important, and it would help you fine-tune any loose ends that you would need to recover from after the session. Who would like to share before we move back onto the slides? It was amazing trying. Good, Marcelina. I was in their room and I can attest to them practicing and going through that experience. Welcome, everyone. For those who are just joining, the question on the floor is, how was the experience of trying to introduce yourself to those in your event room or your breakout room? Anyone willing to share? Let me go to the chats. Before, okay, it was very interesting. So we're going to have more of your experiences shared later. After the event, I have already showed you my social media handles. I would love for all of you to share your experience in detail and tag any of my social media handles so we can continue engaging from there. But I'll move right on to the rest of the presentation so that we can all find out areas that we were already doing well and where there are gaps that we need to close in. Okay. Prosper, please confirm if we're okay. 13. I see 13. I believe we're all in the room. So
Yes.
we're going to go and continue with the rest of the presentation. Now, I would move to where we skipped earlier, and this is it. For those of you who said the elevator pitch is either 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, well, you can all be right, because it could be that you meet somebody and they're going to the 12th floor, or they're going to the 9th floor, and you are probably also going to the 7th floor. So you would have enough time on your hands. But what basically the experts will say is that your elevator pitch should last 30 seconds. 30 seconds. So for those who would be looking for coaching or mentoring in public speaking and leadership skills, this is what I give as my elevator pitch. Are we all ready? Are we all ready for that elevator pitch?
Yes, madam.
Okay, so I want you to grab your pencils, notepads, etc. And then as you take note of it, you start looking at how you build your own elevator pitch. You had the long introduction. Now, when I meet somebody I want to connect and have an opportunity to either mentor or coach for them to improve on their communication, their public speaking skills or leadership skills, this is what I would usually say. Hi, I am Patricia Dzifa Mensah-Larkai. I'm a communication and leadership coach. I do this through training, coaching, and mentoring to help people who have a fear of public speaking and doubting their leadership capacity to build their skills. Did we get that? So you would realize that in that particular 30 or less seconds, and I know I have done this, and it's basically below 20 seconds for those who were counting. Let me see the chat box. Okay, great. You realize that the elevator pitch Basically, it's a statement about yourself. It is talking about what you do, where I mentioned the fact that I'm a communication and leadership coach. The problems I solve, I help people who have a fear of public speaking develop their public speaking skills, and those doubting their leadership capacity to have those skills. And then you also let them know how they can contact you. So in this presentation, I even have slides that tells you how you can stay connected with me after this event. And so in that in-person meeting, that is an opportunity for you to either bring out your business card or your complimentary card, exchange contacts. And most often, it's important that you ask the person, because some people would print complimentary cards that are still with them for 4 years, 5 years, 3 years, etc. There's no harm in having that. You don't need to waste it if you don't have the money to always consistently reproduce your cards. But what you want to do is make sure that you ask them, please, is this your WhatsApp line? And if they want to strike that acquaintance, they will most often write their WhatsApp number for you, because it's one of the fastest ways of connecting, personally for me. Okay, some people that are CEOs or very busy people would usually have their company's phone numbers on their complimentary cards. They would only write their mobile numbers for people they really want to stay connected to. So it doesn't hurt asking if this contact is mobile. All right? So this will help us to continue polishing on that elevator pitch. Don't forget that at networking events, it's not just about talking, but you want to actively listen. Throughout this presentation, I have tried to use active listening techniques to engage you, to let you stay connected, and to also find out if you can actually hear me and if you are listening to me. Sometimes virtually, you might be cooking. Sometimes you can be lying in bed. Sometimes you find yourself doing multiple things and still listening to virtual meetings. And so you hear what the person is saying, but sometimes you aren't actually listening. And listening is what you want to do, because that helps you pay closer attention. It helps you identify points that you can stay connected with this person. Areas where you have something in common, where you can ask for further clarity and continue to stay in touch with this person, okay? And then, as one of you mentioned, networking also requires not just actively listening, but sharing bits and pieces of yourself. You're sharing bits and pieces of your story so that the person would want to engage and stay connected with you. It is the opportunity for you to sell. It's not only marketers and sales agents that have to have a unique selling proposition. You would also have to market yourself. As an individual, you need to identify what I wrote in my book entitled Fearless, Fabulous, and Flamboyant. A chapter talks about your personal SWOT analysis. Most of the time, you go into environments, and for students, very soon when you come into the working space, you would hear about environmental scanning and trying to find out what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, what are the opportunities, and what are the threats. Because mind you, in that networking environment, for those of you who probably are into businesses selling confectionery, it could be pastries, you're selling sweets, drinks. Now there are lots of people in local bars producing local drinks, Asana, Sobolo, etc. There's so many people in the space of even graphics. This presentation I created it myself using Canva, okay? So in some other aspects, I help take people through basics of graphic design so you can do some of these things, what we call bootstrapping for your business, do those things yourself. To tell your story, in this networking events, you may find somebody who is willing to support you. even publicize your items on social media, and also share your most valuable items to others for them to connect with you. And then last but not the least, practice, practice, practice. If after all is said and done, from all that we have discussed in this 1 and almost 15-minute session, if you do not put them into practice, my darlings, you forget. So look out for the next opportunity where you get into that networking environment. And remember, the fear of public speaking or glossophobia comes up with certain triggers. Sometimes you have sweaty palms. You are just worried whether your message will be heard or is valued. Go and think again about what it is that you are putting on the table. What is that unique thing that you can help that person use to solve a problem, use to meet a need in their life, or use to support another person that is in need of something where they can connect the two of you. And I'm sure after you do this in-depth analysis of yourself, you wouldn't find it too hard the next time there's an event for networking to really go out there, deliver your elevator pitch, and see how those connections turn out. So Prosper, this is where I would like to bring the session to a close. Thank you once again for having me share with your valuable and honorable team. And I hope that the session has been impactful, insightful, and has helped you to meet all of the objectives for which you spent time with us this afternoon. Thank you. And like I always say, keep scaling higher heights. Back to you, Prosper.
Thank you very much. How do we tell Patricia? What do we tell Patricia today? Type your responses, how you feel in the chat box, what you would love to tell Patricia for joining us today. Just type that. All of you type how you feel about today's session in the chat box. On behalf of the Postwrite Foundation team and other partners, we would like to say a very big thank you to you. We will share the slides on the Empire to Lead group so that everyone can have access to it. We are most grateful to all of you. And like we always do, if you've joined us, please, your experience, your learning experience, what you picked, kindly go on our social media pages, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and type Postwrite Foundation. What you've learned from today's session, Networking 101, share it and tag us in it. And also tag our facilitator, Patricia, so that the conversation will go on. Don't keep it to yourself. Next weekend, we have another session as well. We'll be communicating that with you pretty shortly. And please feel free to share that online as well. Thank you so much. And we'll be ending the session right now. Thank you, guys. And please don't forget to share your experience online as you go about doing your day-to-day activity today. All right. Have a wonderful time, everyone.